today. Now the program where they talk to the president for the Lawyers Society, we pull a press release and they express their concern, but the removal of Lara Taylor-Pierce will not be the first Auditor General. If not, remember on Friday, December 20th this year, the Parliament of Salon being vote and then get 2/3 majority of the total votes them for remove Lara Taylor-Pierce. Well, this will make Lawyers Society inside press statements with them being pulled, in states different concern them we then get, especially with Campa constitutional matter them. Or Lawyers Society in a group of lawyers them we make up of this society. We don't they talk about issues that we get for do with the rule of law, human rights, and especially with Campa issues that we get for do interpreting the constitution. When at the studio this morning, we get the president for the Lawyers Society, winner Augustine Sui Sembe Mara Esquire. Good morning, Mr. Mara. All right, the issue of Lara Taylor-Pierce not to today it begin. Let we go back from setting up a tribunal. We investigate them for over 2 years in Tambamomo, and done the investigation, bring recommendation them where according to them show say Lara Taylor-Pierce being commit some misconduct, and this will make the president be instruct the AG, the then AG, for go according to the procedure then for go parliament and remove her. Finally, parliament or remove her. And on a concern, then we look back from the time when they set up the tribunal to the time where the investigation be take. Organizations like Budget Advocacy Network, SLAJ, ILRAJ being concerned about the free, fairness, and the speed where the trial be take. Let me start for look at the entire process so to reach the parliament.
Thank you. It's always good that we start from the beginning. And by the way, the beginning not to the way president be set up the tribunal. That's not the beginning. If you go back to when this issue starts, as a matter of fact, what we see now that's a suspension from State House. And I remember quite vividly that I tweet but on this say, you know, the Constitution all say so. But in the Constitution say if there is an issue, they set up the tribunal. When you set up the tribunal, then you suspend. So what State House did by then, I mean, obviously the president would always act on the advice of his lawyers then. So what State House did then was to say suspend even before they set up the tribunal. I came out, I said, I mean, that's not the procedure. That's also the Constitution say. So now been the first blunder. And we've got for catalog all the errors them. Now this journey for nail two professionals them. Where we don't do their work so excellently over the years. Where then they happen done, then set up the tribunal. Then nominate 3 persons for sit down at that tribunal. I come back and I take objection to one. Say one person here now. All I think say for the day, I'm not going to call the person name, a big man, a lawyer. I have immense respect for him. But I said it's not any personal issue, but you should not be there. So I think say then scramble back. That's the second blunder. Scramble back, go, then remove that person there. Then come with a third person. So every step of the way, this is a blunders them they happen. Right? Eventually they set up the tribunal. We run over 2 years. So even before they set up the tribunal, they don't suspend. So then set up the tribunal, one would have, I mean, everywhere in the world, if there's allegation, therefore look into the allegation. Me not think it's been bad for like government may set up the tribunal. Now the way and manner in which they do them, right? Then set up the tribunal, the lawyers for Lara Taylor-Pierce and Tamamomo, then go Supreme Court for say certain procedures and the where they don't sidestep. As we talk, take now the case in a Supreme Court. And we always study law. Now, whether I study law in this country, whether I study law in the UK, I would challenge everybody. Once the Supreme Court sits on the matter, every other tribunal we get for do with any other thing, they stay until Supreme Court's done. It happened recently in America. With all here with Donald Trump. They won't go Supreme Court. All man waits. Once Supreme Court come out with a finding, all the investigations that we get for concern that particular finding. But in this case, we get a tribunal we run for 2 years. We get a Supreme Court matter we pretty much don't survive the tribunal. Tribunal not done in work. They don't send them to Parliament. The case stay in the Supreme Court steadily. They're not decided. So quite clearly, what you will see, that a calculated attempt by all the branches of government. This is not just the executive, this is the judiciary help them, and ultimately, waiting proverbially then can say, the Parliament ram the final nails into the coffin of this issue. So quite clearly, what we see now a journey where government go all out for ensure say then get waiting they want, regardless of how procedural irregularities, how many they no one know. So quite clearly on Friday, which was a sad day, most people have been thinking, say, one, government might not have the two thoughts.
Before we come to Friday, Mr. Marai, just make mention, say, the executive, the judiciary, and Parliament. You say the judiciary helped them for
concerted efforts.
All remove Lara Telopia. Somebody would watch you, would wonder how the judiciary play a role in the removal.
Thank you, thank you. So quite clearly, when the matter goes to Supreme Court, the Supreme Court is the highest court of the land. Meaning if you lost case here and there, you know, get any side for go. Pastor say you go na mosque, imam pray for you. Or you go na church, pastor lay and pay you. But no sign no day. So once that person don't can say I don't can the final arbiter. All my we get for do with that case, you tell a little wait. They not do that there to date. As a matter of fact, it take the Supreme Court registry several months, if not over a year, for even list the matter down for hearing. So I guess cases them way we all understand. I mean, within this country, pass one for life we self no more. Where government interested in a matter, then can file a matter they today they hear even them. If government interested in a matter, then they file a matter they this morning, even them and give judgment. So quite clearly, government's not being interested. What I mean government, all the branches of government are they talk about. So if somebody like this way get a kind allegation there, their allegation and then put them before Supreme Court, it behoves the Supreme Court for ensure say then look into that issue not more than maybe 90 days. I'll give you an example. We see, for example, in Kenya, when they get an election petition, they either case and Kenya get population with double or triple we own. They either petition they then deliver judgment in 21 days. Right? Then an election petition we get for the all with all kind of figures for tens of millions of people. Then decide in 21 days. We get an issue where by all the facts would not require the Supreme Court for sit more than 90 days. It's taken over 2 years. Waiting at the explanation, nobody know. So quite clearly, you see a coordinated effort among all the branches of government for achieve a common purpose. And that common purpose, now we see Friday, where Parliament, when we get the last hammer, ram the last nails into the coffin.
Before we come to waiting happening on Friday, we see
then they formed the tribunal, way for look inside the issue, and plenty of people been on the raise concern about the time where the tribunal take for investigate Lara, we go up to 2 years before then give the recommendation. You know, if you say now that particular point to begin the miss from this report.
No, I think we'll begin miss some from the theory and suspend them before they settle. So the errors for the catalog them plenty. And they're almost indefinite because the matter now at Supreme Court, they don't remove on that Parliament. Can Supreme Court come forward and say errors been there? Because the law very clear. So what in Parliament do, courts not inquire into them. So instead of the wait say Parliament don't take this action, where now the answer don't become tied, therefore they ensure say they deal with that issue. I agree with you. But some other people have been saying, okay, the states may get boku witnesses for hearing, right? Some other people have been saying, one, at some stage, it may take a long time, even when they set up the tribunal, forget the infrastructure and the logistics for learning starting work, it may take several months. And then the proceedings and they adjourn them, right? But let's give the benefit of the doubt. Law say they may get book witnesses and may get for take that long. Once at the start of the tribunal, lawyers for liar, they go Supreme Court for them do a stay order. So now stay the proceedings. Let we done this matter. And I don't think say because those were constitutional interpretation, where the Supreme Court for don't take 90 days decide that. So as at this time what they talk now, we not for the thing say anything fishy. We for don't get answers. I.e. the Supreme Court will not decide say, oh, them incorrect in terms of the procedure. But now the fact that they not decide them, the fact that we don't identify all the issues before you get to Parliament, means say this issue don't left with more doubts than answers. And UDA don't look bad in all of this, that the three branches of government that they don't fail the people of Sierra Leone in this issue.
The crime where Lara Telopias in Tambamomo commit, according to waiting them be the stand trial for na professional misconduct, because they consult a third party for inquire for receipt and other one then. That's the organization we get for do the Institute of Chartered Accountants, do the new internal investigation, pull a report and see the two people in Tambamomo and Lara Telopias not commit any crime, then clarify them for practice now any country, even Salona so. But now Parliament go ahead and remove them. Look at the area of justice. We can to Lara Telopias and Tambamomo where they do their work for save taxpayers' money. What in Parliament do on Friday? Then give justice to them two people here.
Okay, before the justice, I think you raised some pertinent points for the professional misconduct. I mean, we know they go into all of that issue there. But believe you me, Khadija, if somebody when an engineer, you say he build a structure, done the Institute of Engineers and come forward, say, no, this structure is structurally sound. Some other people, we not saying a landed people, people when are lawyers, then come and say, oh, this building is structurally sound. Between the professional body and then non-professional folks, what do I go believe? In this instance, quite clearly, not just the national body, because you will say the national body, oh, I mean, she was part of that body, Tamamomona part of that body, so they don't influence them. International body them come forward and say, we don't analyze this situation. Then consistent with what they call international accounting standards all over the world. What they do? He tie with what the national body say, right? All left all waiting happen between the discrepancy between what the international bodies then say and the national bodies say regarding the alleged professional misconduct and what the tribunal then come out with. If you ask me personally, me go lean more in favor of the professional body then because I understand. You know, like I give the example about structural integrity of a building, I will listen more to the Institute of Engineers than any other person. That's one. Secondly, and more importantly, the duty where Parliament being gets now for ensure say they look into all the errors there from the start to where he gets to them. And ensure say they critically analyze. Because me don't think say Parliament's been bound by waiting the tribunal because of recommendation. Now they ultimately can take the decision. So far so good. And by the way, let me make this clarification. Because most people they get it wrong from a press release. So what we said, that I will disagree with your honorable speaker, we say 2/3 means 2/3 of people that will present and voting. No, respectfully we disagree, not also the law say. 2/3 apply to the 2/3 of the total membership of Parliament. But again, I'll clarify, say, the vote when then cast now Parliament, it reached the 2/3 of the total. So not 2/3 of the people that will vote. reaching two-thirds of the total.
Well, the concern with the speaker be raised and the well, get for do it counts two words. The preposition in and the preposition of. We it been decide for take in rule. Say now only the members of parliament where they in the well that then gets right for vote.
Yes, absolutely.
Where the leader of the opposition be gets concerned over that particular ruling where the speaker be make. But you know when the speaker don't rule, there is no way anybody can object that one day.
We react to that. So we say members of parliament, for let you agree with speaker, you add some words. Say members of parliament present, you add some words. For let you agree with your own position, you don't need for add any words. Members in parliament. You don't need for add any words. Because members in parliament, and it can be a drafting style. Certain draftsman name go use off, certain draftsman name go use in. But if you want for let you refer to members present and voting, all sign a legislation and they say members present and voting. Then they put so members full stop or members in parliament full stop. If you intend for it to be members present and voting, you put the phrases present and voting. But in the constitution, you know the day. So what the speaker do, now they call in constitutional law, a read into the law. You cannot read into the law. Left out the way they. So for
but all of them things the way they talk, Mr. Mara, somebody go to wonder say the speaker and a lawyer like you is supposed for know all of them things there and he might don't take them into consideration before he make that ruling.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So and this is the interesting part. Even though a rule say now 2/3 of members present and voting, but believe you me, if there been 2/3 of members present and voting, they been gets, that would have been an error. But they actually get the 2/3 of the total composition. Why do you say that they happen? Because they believe in the hearts of hearts with your interpretation. Say for me 2/3 of the total composition, which by the way they get. And for me, that's why we conclude with press release by saying the people of Sierra Leone therefore ask their representatives a question. And one of the things that anyway make have been disagree with the proportional representation system. Because when we get a constituency system, it may be easier for let me go to my constituency and say, these votes where you vote. We're not saying I'm in secret ballots. But we for able ask with representatives, we've been getting constituency system there. But now with the PL system, it becomes a little difficult. Because not we all in our political parties. For go back to our political party and say, ask a representative. Not we all. So now make the PL system a little difficult. If them vote here, I mean not say the constituency 104 or 101, and they go ask me representative, and you vote. Answer. We demand answers to questions them. Right? So we last call in the press release and the people of Sierra Leone get for ask a representative them. Civil society get for ask questions and demand answers. Unfortunately, after Parliamentary ruled so, there's nowhere to go. Because even in the constitution, you cannot go to court. You cannot go to court.
So we mean say Lara Taylor Pierce in chapter don't close as Auditor General.
Well, meaning to God, I can't say chapter don't close.
As Sierra Leone Auditor
yes,
General.
constitutionally, past the people of Sierra Leone ask question. And can ask question in many ways, so Khadija, not just call the representatives and ask how for vote. They could also ask them questions in 2028.
Let me look at the voting pattern. A lot of people surprised at the numbers we come out from the APC.
Yes, I was also shocked. Not that, and don't get me wrong, not that the lawyer society mean they say Parliament for rule one kind way. No, we are not saying that. What do they say? We say the importance where this issue gets and the haste in which it was done, and all the concern that some MPs were out attending to official function, mean say to we, they're not given the relevance we been deserve. Believe you me, maybe expect Parliament for open up that report, say, scrutinize them well, call experts and for come make presentation on the issue and make an informed position. But you are not one day you come and just bring a recommendation and say vote. No, this is an issue where you require thorough analysis, thorough articulation, proper deliberations, and ultimately informed and objective position. If that all happen, we all see waiting dramatically happen in the Parliament. Is there at odds with your expectation? We mean expect say Parliament for don't take this matter thoroughly and comprehensively. If they arrive at this same conclusion with a comprehensive approach, sometimes some of we for don't sit back and say they did their work.
Well, holistically, we look at the two bench, the SLPP and the APC. The SLPP be there in strong concern for like they remove the Auditor General when the Speaker asks the question. Why is the APC been there against? Saying enough for removal for certain reasons where the leader of the opposition, Abdul Kabo, been raised concern. So the fact somebody where they watch you now will say the APC not be that much serious for look into this issue on the representation of Parliament, because according to the Speaker, I say these are very important documents we therefore take very serious. So on the issue of them members that will not been present at the well of Parliament, where the Speaker is concerned, say now because they not take the issue very serious, make them people in the can at the well of Parliament, and there is no way they can wait for them before then take a decision. So you know, if you say the opposition will be there against for the removal of the Auditor General, not take the issue very serious.
Okay, two things for me. First, let me assume say, for the benefit of doubt, say they don't take the matter serious, right? They may notify them, they don't come. Let me assume say they were not on official function. The fact of the matter is, we see the list. We don't think say that issue waiting for Parliament for delegates just one day and then vote on them. I don't think so. Tribunal took 2 years. Courts in don't get the issue over 2 years. And from the time when they removed them to now, I think it's over 3 years plus. So put all of them into perspective. You think say less than maybe 4 or 5 hours be enough for do justice so an issue we don't linger for 3 years plus? I don't think so. No, sir. So give them the benefits of the doubt. Say they were not available then. Start the deliberation. Adjourn, notify them when I come. Right? So for we lean more with the reports. Say some of these folks were out on official function and they know it's for them. Waiting up in the hurry. What was the haste? This woman and this man don't sit down for 3+ years. You can't wait for them for a few days for long and deliberate comprehensively. What was the haste about? Right? So that issue they say, oh, they were notified, they're not serious. We know it will cut case panel. But we put the two perspectives, we lean more in favor of the fact that the reports will come out say some were on official function and they were not given reasonable notice and reasonable opportunity to participate in the delegation. Right? That's one. But secondly, and very importantly, this is an issue where don't test with democracy in recent times. I can always point at two defining moments for with constitution and with democracy. Maybe three. Put three, not two. One, na Samsumana in sacking in 2015. Two, na the ECSL not refusal for published disaggregated data. And three, na Lara Telopia and Tamamomo issue. Right? Again, for all the three issues, people they say paupa na so for go. Right? And when it comes to ECSL disaggregated data, I have always taken a position say, get nothing for do with the outcome. For me, I just want to see. As a citizen, we participate. All the people that don't call for them data, now the rights. For me, it's more about the freedom and the right to access information than who that win the election. Because as far as me concerned, there was a pronouncement and they don't give a certificate to the president. So that they don't pass. If the person will be lost, me no say he win, if I don't go to court. Right? Maybe disagree with the APC position. I mean disagree with the opposition and position on whether they for go to court or not. Even what happened to we during the Bar Association election concerns me about the independence of the judiciary, but we're going to court. We're in a court now, right? On the Bar Association. So all of this put together, they show say with democracy seriously challenged.
So are you saying that the parliament
Means they jeopardize on with democracy?
No, so not just parliament. I don't identify the three branches of government. What in the executive do? All the errors from the beginning to when it's tribunal. What in the judiciary do? When they put case before them 30 days they not decide them. What in parliament do? In haste for ensure say them vote on this issue. Right? And also we'll talk a little bit but we see but say for letting get that 100 some of the opposition members go don't vote. So when you talk about APC position, I don't think say there was an APC position.
That goes me to the next question, Mr. Mal. A lot of people they question how the leadership of Honorable Abdukabo, when are the leader of the opposition. Normally, before any critical bill they come before Parliament, then go to them call the order paper for notify the member of Parliament. They say this guy for come. If Honorable Abdukabo be no say then party position, not favor for remove Lara Telopias, the argument is why you know we call all the MP them for ensure say they did at the well of Parliament, and even the one that will be there about 7 vote in favor of this decision. Now we look at the composition and the leadership structure of Parliament.
Khadija, I have always said let's come back to the PR system. I mean, disclaimer here, Abdukabo, a good friend of mine. I don't know all the facts about this, but as somebody who I know say forthright and they do a work, right? That don't mean say in this case sometimes they don't do a work. I mean generally speaking. But the fact of the matter is, and I've always said, I don't know if you, but I think I see some posts where purportedly come up from her, right, and say the other paper where they been sent to them, I think say they been do some modification to them. With that other paper where they sent to them, ultimately the other paper where they use na Parliament that the one where they been sent to and not been get this issue of Lara. I might be mistaken on this. Don't take my word for it. I might not have all the facts. But if that ain't the case, then it comes to show why make Honorable Abdukabo not for the able for recall all the members of Parliament. But besides all of that, if there was an opposition position on that, you know, go see some members of APC they vote in favor of the removal, meaning there was no opposition position on the issue. Which, by the way, I mean, don't get me wrong, me not think say them for always get an unblocked position. Everybody for they together on all issue. Because even though they belong to APC or members of Parliament say we belong to SLPP, not to always they go take the party line, right? Although maybe they expect, say at the very least, and this is what we have said, at the very least, and for them ensure say they deliberate this issue, they get reasonable time, then deliberate them over a couple of days. They allow the one way they ask for calm and then add perspective. Sometimes them perspective then they for don't inform the other members of Parliament and we vote with the SLP en bloc. Because you see say SLPP then vote en bloc, meaning they all vote one side. APC, they all not vote one side. At least they get few, at least 7 or 8 will vote with the SLPP en bloc. So we are saying if you may not give this issue critical analysis, proper deliberations, reasonable opportunity to everybody, sometimes for not inform the perspective of the other 7 or 8, for let them come back and say, no, they vote this way, we the votes that way. So that then are more, but obviously, I mean, when you look at the opposition, some days are they feel for the people of Sierra Leone. Because we look at the opposition, with all due respect to the leadership, me Paddy Abdul Kagbo is doing quite well. But when you look at the sum of the people that we form representatives as the opposition in parliament, I feel for the people of Sierra Leone. Because that's like really people when they represent the interest and defend the people of Sierra Leone in parliament. And then they bring we back to the PR system. Because the PR system and the political party then are they powerful. That they carry a list. That they submit them people away and they put a list. People away, even the people are able to get the opportunity for scrutinize. With the constituency system, I know that they represent me in my area and they scrutinize them and go ensure say I don't vote for them. So even though, for example, I go vote maybe green, I can vote red for the member of parliament because I know say the green member of parliament will go serve me interest, but the red. But with the PR system, it becomes really difficult because a party nobody votes for. And this is what we have. Believe you me, everybody go tell you say, nah, in terms of the parliament, with all due respect to the leadership, I have immense respect for the speaker, immense respect for the leader of government business, immense respect for the opposition leader. But when you look at the sum of these parliaments, believe you me, many people don't say this parliament's weak. Some members of parliament they don't go years, we no ever don't talk in this parliament.
Mr. Mara, now very sensitive comments that one day, yes. Because if then they say then they represent the people, then you say you feel for the people of Sierra Leone, their interest not on be at the top of the priority, well. Yes. Then they take the taxpayers' money, they pay them. So why then they as member of parliament?
But that's it. So we don't get an opportunity where in other countries, after some time they get a midterm elections. We can give you member of parliament, say after 2 years you come up, we change you. We now only after 5 years. So unfortunately we stuck with the wire past 2028. We stuck with them. But again, this for open up the conversation. And by the way, I remember saying, I been do that debate and I took a clear position. Say the PR system a good system of representation, but salon in democracy not mature it. We not get that enlightened populace yet. We not get mature political parties. That PR system not make political parties so powerful. Where they all listing, so man they fast and pray and day. And we know how some of these things have been negotiated in a manner we're not going to talk like TV. They're not fine. So what it make few people in a political party don't become demigods. Federal carry them, people and them, party them, put them on the list. Party members. Where actually the list for represent the finest shades of people in this country. When they sit on a parliament, when put up an issue, when picking and tune to TV, they will not say that the best of the best in the country, that they need a parliament so. But this kind of parliaments where they give you the political parties and they give you, it's sad. Absolutely sad.
How you go describe this current parliament? What's adjective we go use for this?
I don't think say, and by the way, I mean, I get respect for the leadership of parliament. The speaker, leader of government business, leader of the opposition, but this particular parliament is weak. It's weak. The deliberations, the analysis of the area, this particular parliament is weak. Because most of them here they struggle at civil society level. Civil society, if you get a stronger parliament, look at the telecoms, look at the calls all over, look at all the issue of the recent audit reports. So every year we see them staggering figures in terms of loss. Stronger parliament will get spine, then they call out some of them things here. Will they get sanity in this country? Look at all the way to the face. Water crisis, light crisis, and all that thing. We don't say Parliament not going to do all, but when we see them in action, much more than just ticking the boxes. Much more than that.
You say the Parliament's weak, but you get respect for the leadership
Yes.
with the run the Parliament.
Yes.
How that add up, Mr. Mara? If something weak,
yes.
you get a driver,
yes.
with the driver, the
yes.
weak vessel.
Yes.
So how that add up?
I mean, so Khadija, there's always a distinction between a person and your official capacity, right? So you can get respect for somebody personally, but officially, with all the instruments, we lawyers and can say the paraphernalia, we put them all together, it means even that person, they, as strong as they may be, they might not be able to steer. Because members, say not to judge the speaker, therefore also deliberates. Not to the speaker, and therefore comments, make presentations at Parliament.
Mr. Mara,
also just the leader of government business.
You don't mention a lot with regards to how we don't damage the constitution, we don't break certain laws. You talk about the sacking of the former vice president and also removing Lara Taylor Pierce. These are unprecedented issues that will happen at the country.
Absolutely.
So what think the future hold for the democracy in Sierra Leone?
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. From 2015 to now, with democracy not go up. From 2015 to now, we just go down democratically as a country, right? The good thing about this country, where God Lekwi, Salon a peaceful country, right? And the other day, somebody they asked me critical question, say why making this in spite of all of them here? Look at the judiciary, for example, where after that decade plus civil war, special courts, the finest establishment in a country here, infrastructure, jurisprudence, all fine. So many people mean they think say, when special courts go, salon something and for the house equal as Parliament safe. I hear people and for them come for justice from all over West Africa. But I hear people in the commonal they go equal as courts day by day against the government of Sierra Leone. So all I need to tell you say we not don't learn lessons enough. We start fine after the war. But about building institutions, and as by Komakam, he ride on that one day. Second time, not so much. Second time, he departs from that pathway for build democracy. 2018 come, SLPP can send a power. We been expect say them for don't correct his second term errors of President Kuma. Unfortunately, no. The New Direction Manifesto became a pauper ideology in governance, which is a disconnect from that New Direction Manifesto, which was sold to the people of Sierra Leone. So I am at pains. So 2015, after the sacking of the vice president, many of we constitutional scholars may think say, oh, yanda na height way will not go pass. But again, we sound a caution. So if you pull Lara in this manner, we're afraid for we judges them, especially we judges in the Supreme Court, because then they sit down on constitutional matters and interpret the constitution. We're afraid say waiting and do Lara, they don't know they far. And that make some of we have been very forthright with members of the bench and say if we are not correct this error, me praise Walek, chicken go come on for roast. Meaning, see what you do or not do, now the consequences of harm go come and follow you soon. So now that make, because in the constitution, the same protection when they give the Auditor General, then they give the judges them of the superior courts. So the same. Meaning if you treat Lara Taylor Pierce in this manner, you can treat any judge like a Supreme Court judge one morning.
Respect for the rule of law now one way you don't advocate for. And now with this decision we Parliament make on Friday, also it left salon we camp and respect for the rule of law.
I think Khadija, me not kill they ask me about the rule of law because I think in terms of salon we get more the rule of power than the rule of law. Believe you me, we get more the rule of power than the rule of law. And I not say that as a lawyer, this is rather harsh, but sometimes we need to speak truth to power. Because in truth here, we know what in the happen as lawyer if I go CID. If I want my client out, believe you me, I like I quote all the sections. And I mean, this is worrying because some of we go college, we study law, not so because I want for call politician for get me clients out. No. But now believe you me, as a lawyer, you go able to get your clients out faster and quicker if you call a politician than you quote all the beautiful sections, now all the laws.
Somebody go the one that say if it really this bad now as you explain as alone.
Maybe if it was sometimes. Now this is not TV. We're not going to talk all the condition. See if it was. Believe you me, the rule of law na salon is severely troubled across all the sectors. And we don't talk about it no more. But this growing practice for letting keep people in a detention beyond the constitutional limits, they don't normalize them. Over 7 days, over 10 days, it's been normalized. We also get the issue them of lawyers. When we join this profession, we almost always, we always been get that knowledge based on the law. So we can't to lawyers them some protection. People like parliamentarians, immunity for the president, etc., etc. Immunity not for lawyer, but certain procedure, i.e., but now we see increasingly the arrest of lawyers with a proper notification given. So all of the issue here, we get boku cases them where then they adjourn endlessly. We get cases them also where they don't reserve for judgments, it don't go several years. I'll give you an example. If I had this Supreme Court for a matter where they reserve for ruling in 2017. 2017 to date and 7 years. They reserve them for judgment. The person they wait for judgment for 7 years. I'll give you another example. These are examples that we are bound. I'll argue one case. As a young lawyer who start for practice, we argue one case for some ex-employees of Port Authority. All part them, whether work at Port Authority for 30 plus years, whether the benefits and not reach something 5 million, small money there. They're not paid, they will kind courts. Argue that case and they reserve them for judgment. From May 2015, next year they make 10 years. The part that women sit down before me as a young lawyer, where consult me, where I take instructions, that's why they have been there with me, pupil master. Most of the leadership, they all don't die. By that 49 days, half of them don't die. 30 days, then they wait for judgment. The young man where they work out with them, but they not old, where they come to me now, 10 years. People, these are poor people. So when they talk about rule of law, no use fanciful language. Let us be sure, say what would they talk correct. For me, if you ask me, in my own words, there is more rule of power than rule of law.
All right, continue for the with you in the studio. In case you just tune in, that's not the president for Lawyers Society. A day with you this morning, they look at and also they analyze the decision where Parliament been taken on Friday for votes and remove the Auditor General Lara Taylor Pierce. Send me your message in the comment section, or you can as well text in the number +23274200545. We will read on the messages, then later on, if you get question for lawyers, so you send them Marika as well, send them, we'll go read them and you go respond later. We'll take this quick break, we'll come back, we'll continue the conversation.
Hey, Sadi, what's up?
How are you?
Samo, hook me up quick. Samo, someone going to forget some football pictures for this week. I don't check all the side all day long. But I will help me to one woman going for ginger and swagger for this week.
Ask Leo.
Ask Leo? Who is Leo?
Ask Leo, Sam. I did it. No, can't go to me, feeling. Allow me to finish my food.
Leo will help you Open an account, check your balance, buy airtime to pop, send money. Leo will help you locate the nearest ATM point. Leo will help ease your stress by helping you get the most fascinating fixtures. Oh yes, for our football lovers. Leo will do this and many more.
Wow!
All you need to do is save Leo to your mobile phone with the number +232 79 919 919 and get to chat with Leo on WhatsApp. Go on, try it now. You can also chat with Leo on Facebook Messenger by typing UBA Chat Banking. Leo is your virtual banker who serves you wherever you are with just one click away. It is UBA. We are your #1 bank for all the right reasons. For more inquiries, call us on +232 78 200 200 or follow us on all our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at uba.sl. We are Africa's global bank.
All right, welcome back from that break day. You still watch the Breakfast Show live na Liberty TV. We still get the president for Lawyers Society where we analyze the decision of Parliament where they don't remove the Auditor General after a 2/3 majority where the speaker say then gets na Parliament. We mean say Lara Telopias not to Auditor General again for Salon. Well, now the decision done day after a press release where Lawyers Society been pulled on Saturday, December 21st. Outside the state some of the concern them and the constitutional irregularity them believe say happen. Let we look at Parliament again and this decision. You don't describe this Parliament saying a weak Parliament, but a lot of people believe say after elections everybody for go now for work for the interest of the people. And Parliament's now one side way every morning and get in prayer where they say then they put personal interest aside and put that of the country and the people. But this particular Parliament, you think say politics above this Parliament of a function properly?
Khadija, so two things. This country we lack Boku rituals. So me, I'm not moved by the prayer the way that they say every morning. I'm moved more by actions. Believe you me, go to courts, I see them they swear on Bible and Quran. You know, every year Judiciary go to church, they march na the streets, they wear their wig and gown. But waiting they happen, they leaves much to be desired. So me too, man moved by all the rituals and strappings and motions and no. They say by their fruits you shall know them. So it's the fruit more than all the rituals, right? I understand that parliamentarians and politicians. I understand that politicians and their interest force now for push them political interest. You understand that? So even if they say prayer every morning, say they will put the national interest, the reality is. But there are times when you know say national interest now go even safeguard your own political interest. Because believe you me, if people that lost faith in the opposition say, oh, we're not your opposition, let them try it. Meaning, I mean, for example, in Nigeria, then past election, you see, say, the numbers been substantially reduced. Because most people then say, we're not interested, we're not go try it. So similarly, and that's why if you look at the quality of people the way they join them political parties and now, I mean, when we were small, you know, say what you may. Every Saturday, I get for tuning for listening Septimus Kaikai, Kadisi say them, IB Kagbo then a radio. The amount of articulation with the brilliance, and these were folks from different political parties. Julius Spencer them. These were folks from different political parties. But they were solid, them in words and salt. We not get the one and did plenty. again. We don't get them. So we can understand, say, even back then, politicians, they serve them political interests. But they may always get a common purpose. Because every democracy, we get what they call checks and balances. Now, they make democracy strong. In fact, I make the courts exist for let check the excess of government. Right? For let people encounter Supreme Court and say, oh, na so and so government want for do. Do you interpret if then correct? Then for speedily do one. Audit service, now other institution where they serve for check the excess of government. Because then they analyze, review the expenditure of government, and then see, say, what in government being says, then they actually spend, and then get documents for proof. So what in Parliament they do, now for let them enhance the work of audit service. Meaning, if the executive want to go after the head of the audit service, whereby the way na Parliament being pass the constitution as the highest law of the land, now Parliament for ensure, they say who side and gets credible evidence against the Auditor General regarding professional misconduct, Parliament not for act to. Then can act. Because professional misconduct and professional misconduct. But in this case, with all which we don't see, with the fact of the position of the international bodies and national body, leaves so much to be desired. So, yes, I agree that to a large extent, what would they see? Now, politics dominates. Politics dominates. And politicians then can be politicians, but also then they foster their interests. Foster national interest, I mean.
Plenty people look at
looking at the composition of Parliament, they look at the Parliamentary then for being independent with regards to taking decision. How you assess, just like we mentioned earlier on that they in support of the PAC system, that the proportional representation, we plenty people raise concern, they object before this time. So, what you assess the Parliamentary them with regards to taking decision at Parliament?
I mean, if you ask me, I've always been against the inclusion of Parliamentary in the Parliament for two things. One, believe you made a contribution in the Parliament, even though the idea was then for bringing that traditional perspective, norms and customs and culture. But I think the Parliamentary them, because they're largely being stipended by governments, to a large extent, they're almost always en bloc, they lean towards government. Almost always. So you see, say the purpose, where they come for serve, we can't to government interests, they always lean towards government. That don't mean say they know they play role part, there other non-contentious matters where government don't get interest part. Then we can't talk about custom and laws. So I think saying that make in the new constitution, they don't advocate for law gets House of Chiefs. Where they all rule, now any law, they just sit down and give perspective based on custom, based on culture, based on your own traditional beliefs and system. So, because what in government you always do, where they want to pass something, they want to required votes, and just they call the 14, now 14. Say, and they say, well, you pay the pipe and you determine the tune. So you can easily get them. Right? So now that make the purpose and the significance at the end of the day is being defeated by political interest. So now that make we get for also reevaluate if now this kind of parliament we want in the new constitution of Sierra Leone.
All right, continue for the program, Augustine. We look at messages them where people don't send now, and we'll come back to you for response to some of the messages. And the first one they take a comment from Victor Calon. Now Facebook they say, was the Auditor General appointed by the President? Why are we leaving out the political grips attached to that appointment and just consider the professional aspects only? The problem here is our constitution.
I'll take this one from a Facebook page. They come up for Julian Cole. They say, I don't think the hands of the Supreme Court are now tied after Parliament votes to remove Lara. This is because the issue before the Supreme Court is not an issue of whether Parliament deal with the issue correctly or not. Rather, it's an issue relative to the complaint or the report from the Tribunal against Lara, which was taken to the Supreme Court. Constitutional interpretation before Parliament sat on this issue. Therefore, the Supreme Court can still go ahead and determine the constitutional issue relative to the complaint that came before the Supreme Court before taking decision. This one they come up from Julian Cole.
Francis Komina Mansare na Facebook, they say, Lawyer Mara, I love your consistency in articulating national issues. You are among the very few Sierra Leoneans that give us hope.
Gloria Davis from a Facebook page say giving insights to the political gap does not mean losing sight of the constitutional demand.
For the Mustafa Toure, they say the major problem of Sierra Leone is the constitution. So we could shout all day, things can only change if the flaws in the constitution are addressed. The APC spent 2 sittings on the reviewed constitution and the SLPP criticized that, but they have sat 7 years on the documents because it offers them comfort. Lawyer Mara and others should devote their energies on the constitution. This is a one-party constitution with slight changes. They should also ensure that the government is not allowed to choose sections that favor them and reject those that don't.
The next one they come up from Victor Calon from a Facebook page. He say the absence of the APC MP signify the continuous division and betrayal of the people of Sierra Leone.
Jibril Kano, they said, Mr. Sorimara, can you tell us how our members of parliament end up in parliament? They are not representing the people.
There is one they come up from Ali Conte. He says 7 MPs shout out under the leadership of Honorable Abdul Kagbo. This is a big blow to the leadership. The APC MPs could not hold themselves together. Hard up, not something that has to show its integrity above all.
All right, more messages. We don't come and they're going to YouTube now and take few. Al Sise, they say, good morning, Liberty TV. Please ask the landed lawyer this question. Is 2/3 majority of the entire parliament or 2/3 majority of the members present at the well in that moment? Victor
Kalonde say, was the Auditor General appointed by the President? Why are we leaving out the political gap attached to that appointment and just consider the professional aspects only? The problem here is our constitution.
Almami Turena YouTube, they say, my humble question to you, landed lawyer, what can the bar or SLLC can do to cases that are due for judgment but adjourned for many years?
The last one I will take from a Facebook page, you come up from Fode Mustafa Toure. He said this is what Sierra Leoneans aren't agitating for with their heart and soul, but just talking about the problem.
All right, more messages. We don't come to the program. The last one they come out from George Walker on YouTube. He say, until the 3 arms of government are truly independent, nothing will change. All right, from their messages, then they come back in the studio and allow Augustine Sorisembe Mara, the President for Lawyers Society, for respond. Mr. Mara?
Yeah, just a couple of reaction to. I will start with waiting Julian, my learned friend, comment on the Supreme Court matter. Let's get this clear. Supreme Court can go ahead and listen that matter and then can decide on them. But my own position that ultimately it not going to affect within Parliament's undo. Ultimately. So then can go ahead, that make us say the hands and tied. And then that day we can call more a moot issue for pretty much for academic purpose now. Right? Because at the end of the day, possibly affected, the justice will be want, even if you decide that person will get them. Right? But that's my own position on that. The other person talked about presidential appointments of Auditor General, which is correct. The idea, and even with judges then, a president they appoints them. But the idea is for remove them, they get certain procedure. Where that procedure they can forbid, you set up a tribunal. Once you set up a tribunal, you suspend until the tribunal meets and decide. Unfortunately, the Constitution not tell me how long the tribunal for meet. But always we can go back to it and call them then maybe canons of interpretation. We go mean say reasonable term, then can spend a reasonable term for decide that issue there. Me not think say 2 years not a reasonable term. Right? So the removal, even though you appoint, the removal is made a little difficult. So whereas president get power for appoint, obviously the appointment self gets stages them. We nowadays most of the time then stages then they shrouded in secrecy. But the removal in then stages then they then spelled out. Again we mentioned say them miss them. With Lara issued and suspend before them set up the tribunal. The Constitution says set up first, then you suspend.
So you know,
right?
Say, we need for
there is a need for improvement on the Constitution because concerns are not the is about the rigid of the Constitution.
Absolutely.
There was this humanity way then there is a lot of recommendations.
Correct.
We then compare Sierra Leone democracy and that of Kenya. We are in Kenya. Certain strategic positions there is not the president that has the power to appoint because whenever the president appoints, they get the power as well for able to relieve that person from duty. So you don't say we need for go back and restructure the constitution and service certain appointments then they will not for come from the office of the president.
Absolutely. So then comes here the Kenya we mentioned what the president they do are pretty much what we call ceremonial appointments. Meaning all the work will for be done before it gets to the president's desk, you get a commission with it one. So in Kenya, then they interview judges them almost on TV, state broadcaster, hours and they grill them. The committee they send a list of the one the way they don't vet. President they pick from that list day for appoint. If president don't pick from that list day, he not get power for pick from any other list, now then they send list to her. If he say no this, he not agree with this appointment or with this recommendation, he for state a reason to the commission. So meaning, what the president they do, our countries in Kenya, now for just rubber stamp, what the commission don't do. The vetting, the approval, the interviewing, the scrutiny. We not get that one day. We most of the time, we will see one page A4 paper they come on, it has pleased His Excellency. So once we see it has pleased His Excellency, we know the appointment on card. But in other places, we see all the steps here clearly on TV. If they say that they can interview somebody who wants on Chief Justice, interview on TV, hours, people in the tuning. Citizens they send them questions. So once he gets to the desk of the president, then they tell the president, and then 3 people here who don't vet. Number 1, number 2, number 3. If president they jump number 1, one take number 2, it states a reason why they do so. So meaning then they tie on, then they get a list. Say, and then 3 here who don't vet. But if you know they take number 1, they take number 2, they tell me why. If they come up from number 1, one take number 3, jump number 2, you take number 3 for tell me a reason. So meaning in them countries they don't reduce the powers of the president. And I know say somebody talk about that. The 1991 constitution, we come up from that 1978 when I mean that one party. So then just fine tune up. Remember I said in the 1978 constitution, we get boku powers then when I give the president. So when it comes to 1991. We just come fine-tune them, but we left enormous powers with the president. So that make in the constitutional review, the drafts, where late Justice Kawami put together, where one APC government no me act on them, SLPP government self 30 days no act on them. So good. Because what you don't do now, you don't make sure say they reduce all empowers them. Forgive the powers to institution. Because in a democracy, not one person they rule. Democracy in a system of government, one person they before, but now institutions and they rule. And that is the difference between democracy and authoritarian rule. Authoritarian are one person. If you're not glad in our money, we all know the gladdy. If you're glad in our money, you go now on TikTok, you gladdy, we all the gladdy. In a democracy, now all the institutions that they work. The one person who elect in, they just provide a visionary leadership. That's the difference between democracy and authoritarian rule. Cannot one person get the power. That the institutions and they demonstrate and all the power. And that make, for example, but people will tell you, say, if American and democracy not been strong, the first way Donald Trump come, have been disaster. So the people that we keep them in check, that the institution, see what thing go happen. With all way people and things say, oh, you can't deport, you can't say, see how the institution and you can play out. Right? Because in a democracy, now the institutions, now they rule, now they govern. The president and in cabinets, they provide a policy direction. But the institutions, and they drive them, and they keep the governance solid and stable.
With this decision, will Parliament don't take Mr. Mara for remove Lara Telopias as Auditor General? What in this mean for issues we talk about audit, transparency, especially now the office of the president? Because now they Lara offend, if I can say.
Right. So for me, and by the way, I remember saying one time they passed one law where they say, for audits the office of the president. I think say even the president say, oh no, I don't want this law, which was good, really, which was good. Believe you me, waiting they happen to Lara and Tamamomo. Now waiting we call they get a chilling effect. It means that the person who sit down at the seat now, they're afraid. Because every time when they happen, the person who sit down at the seat is afraid. Right? Meaning, areas where sometimes if you don't ordinarily come and audit, you don't go audit again. Because you remember, say, let me self not go fed me wahala that inside and there. So what thing they happen to institution, you they water them down. It means now they get for do it in a called professional compromises. We mean say on certain area with the left arm, with the concentrate now. But the idea is all side and they use public funds, the audit service get rights for audit and scrutinize and do their work really well. So I think say this not just for Lara and Tamamomo, but also for the audit service. Because now even the, let's say, the up and coming auditors the way they then say for the team twice. Say if I can't do me work with rigor, if I can't do me work with well one, and things I want for cover all and ensure say I do me work efficiently, I go land into trouble. So what they do to institution, they begin water them down. They begin water them down. And before you know it, the audit service we don't do so well across the regimes. And the only institution and the way all the regimes agree say this government institution they don't really work, so and they have been independent.
Interest in waiting audits they do. For example, audit reports don't come on now. People not even seem for interested.
Absolutely. I think that itself I want to mention say even now we get staggering figures them. But first time people would be looking forward to audit reports where they come out towards in December. It go catch that buzz day. Media then go carry them. Now if you buy like not so much. So that enthusiasm and like where you say public interest don't win, it they go down. Before you know it, people they're going to release audit service reports, say, let them try it. Right? Again, the morale of the institution, you they reduce them. So anytime you make them fundamental decisions there, where they affect the institution there, it also affects public interest and public trust in the institution. So even though laws say, for example, what your audit service don't pull say, laws say they report years have passed previous years. But people now, they look at now suspiciously. Oh, now don't pull on there for now, put on your own person, and then they show me them figure here. These are for, you know what I mean? So all of them they put together means say this decision gave what we call far-reaching consequence for a democracy and for a public institution.
2015, finally, before you left in the studio. Sometimes back in 2015, you were there at the media again. They criticize, they talk about the sacking of the former vice president. And one of the things then with this sitting president now they're in opposition. Let me take a position, they criticize and call out the then president. You will ever see this coming, say, President Bio now being the president, he will get mind do such things than we even criticized before?
Now, so not just the vice president, but if you look at the New Direction manifesto, most of the figures that when they criticize the APC government for, they pull them from the audit reports where Lara been, as part of audit service being released. Most of them figures them tell you about how the reckless spending. Now they will pull a popular phrase from the presidency we say and they spend like drunken sailors. So all of that. So then the audit reports, now be the resource, now be the material, pretty much now be the arsenal for the opposition, right? So nobody then be envisaged. So we'll get a period where the presidency go there at odds with the Auditor General. Nobody. But again, they can say, for you understand a man, give him power. For you understand a man, give him money. So, as somebody outside of governance, waiting them they use for come after that regime day, and the people of Sierra Leone, agree with the SLPP opposition, then say APC they spend recklessly and say the audit reports have don't confirm. So the expectation of the people are that once the SLPP come, then go amplify the work of the audit service. Then go increase and solidify the independence of the audit service. Right? We need to go into all the allegation, but all waiting done dramatically play out. Don't show we say that independence say that place the audit service in place now with democracy seriously threatened. And like you say, nobody no may envisage say this regime will be use the arsenal where audit service may they provide for the opposition then would also turn on the audit service for professional misconduct where professional bodies and don't come and say, we serve to analyze them according to international accounting standards. And we don't see anything and amount to professional misconduct at all. So for me, all of the issues that they talk about for the last 10 years, they tell you say Sierra Leone democracy na a system and an issue where we seriously not only forget a conversation, but what would they decide the new constitution of this country? We for ensure say we give power back to the representative, to the people of Sierra Leone. We give power back to the institutions that they represent the people of Sierra Leone.
Many thanks, Augustine Sorisembemara, President Lawyer Society. We join with this morning. Can't talk about some of the concern them who are putting on a press release for sake of the removal of Lara Taylor Pierce as Auditor General. Many thanks. We join with this morning.
Thank you.
All right. Well, now then the breakfast show for today. We want to say plenty thank you to now always join the conversation and continue for Watch Liberty Online TV for you credible and most reliable information what they bring to now. I want to say Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in advance to all we viewers